You're watching the 49ers Report live here on Chat Sports. I am Chase Sr. Coming up, 5 players on the defensive side of the football who I think are underrated on this roster. And there are some big name players who I think are somewhat underrated and under-talked about both locally as well as nationally. Let's kick it off with K'Waun Williams, who over his NFL career has been a steadily available and consistent cornerback who I think just doesn't get enough praise. Signed a 1-year deal in free agency after receiving some interest on the free agent market from teams like the New York Jets as well as the Kansas City Chiefs. He did register under 300 snaps last year. That's because he dealt with a variety of injuries, but Pro Football Focus has him ranked as one of the top slot cornerbacks across the entire NFL, and I think in 2021 he is going to be a pivotal component of this 49ers defense. You take a look at what he's done throughout his career, and really he's been a lockdown guy who has versatility, who can play both on the outside and on the inside, but really his strengths lie with him playing the slot cornerback position. It really goes back to 2017 where you saw the production really start to take off. 54 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, 5 pass breakups, and really that's been the consistent theme throughout K'Waun Williams' career. He's very active on the football, also shows some really good instincts. And I talk about Pro Football Focus ranking him as one of the top slot cornerbacks moving forward and projecting forward into the 2021 season. He's right behind guys like Kenny Moore, Bryce Callahan, Jonathan Jones, Mike Hilton, Troy Hill, as well as Desmond King, Brian Poole, and K'Waun Williams comes in at number 8 on this list put out by Pro Football Focus, ahead of guys like Chris Harris, who's had a really good career, and Nickel Roby-Coleman. So K'Waun Williams is a guy who I think deserves a little bit more respect both locally and nationally, because throughout his career, I think he's been one of the most underrated slot cornerbacks across the NFL, and he is going to be a key piece for this 49ers defense. Let's hope that he's able to stay on the field this year, because those injuries did haunt him a bit last year. Who do you think is the most underrated player on this 49ers defense? There are a lot of guys who we're about to get to who I think are underrated. Let me know who you think is underrated. Get your votes in the comment section down below. Let's pivot to Jason Verrett. Verrett signed a 1-year prove-it deal. I couldn't believe that the 49ers got him at a base salary of $2.5 million. I think that on the open market, because of the way that he played last year, when he was finally able to escape the injury bug, Jason Verrett was a rock-solid outside cornerback. Now, I talk about those injuries. They've really haunted him since he was a first-round pick coming out of TCU by then the San Diego Chargers. And after a stellar start to his career, he popped his Achilles, and there were injuries that really started to pile up over time. But last year, Jason Verrett was finally able to stay on the field consistently, and PFF has a top 20 grade on him for outside cornerbacks looking forward to this upcoming season. And in 13 games last year, Jason Verrett, when targeted, I think he only gave up 1 passing touchdown in coverage, put together 60 tackles, 2 tackles for loss. He's a great drop-back cornerback who can defend the opposing team's number 1 wide receiver. He's active on the football, just like K'Waun Williams. 7 pass breakups is an excellent number across 13 games. Also was able to reel in 2 interceptions. And to get him with a salary cap hit of $5.2 million, I think it's excellent value. And what does that tell me? Jason Verrett is very confident in himself that he's going to be able to prove himself in this 1-year prove-it deal and maybe secure the bag next year when the salary cap skyrockets and he'll be able to earn himself some more money. But a cap hit of 5.2, a base salary of $2.5 million, that is tremendous value. As for that list put out there by Pro Football Focus of the top outside cornerbacks, here's what you're looking at. Kyle Fuller, now with the Denver Broncos, formerly of the Chicago Bears, in at number 21. Yours truly, Jason Verrett, at number 22. Ahead of cornerbacks like Darius Slay, who the Eagles are paying a lot of money to. Bradley Roby, throughout his NFL career, has been a solid cornerback as well. Verrett overtakes him. And Shaq Griffin, who just signed a big contract with the Jacksonville Jaguars, in at number 25. Verrett ahead of him as well. And again, when it comes down to the price tag, 49ers getting excellent value there. D'Amico Ryans has to be very pumped up about that. So Jason Verrett in at number 22 on that list by Pro Football Focus. Do you think that's disrespectful? Do you think Jason Verrett is a top 20 cornerback? Do you think Pro Football Focus is wrong? Type Y for yes, he's a top 20 guy. Type N for no. Be sure to get your votes in the comment section down below. Here at the 49ers Report, we do a lot of fun things on the channel. Nobody's doing what we do here at Chat Sports. Those are all reasons to subscribe to the channel. Also, we're pushing out free videos every single day. So if you love the Niners, if you love Niners coverage, and you want the best Niners coverage here on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed by going to youtube.com/49erstv or hit that big red button down below. A player who I'm really high on going into the 2021 season is defensive tackle D.J. Jones, and he's been a great prove-it story throughout his entire NFL career. Really proven himself as a reliable and talented defensive tackle since being a 6th-round pick in 2017. Now, he was at East Mississippi Community College, which was featured on the Last Chance U series on Netflix. Then he goes to Ole Miss. Then he is drafted in the 6th round. A lot of people doubting him. And then he signs a $3.5 million contract for this upcoming season. And I think he has versatility to his game, toughness and quickness to really have a breakout season this year. But I think he's not talked about as a really solid defensive tackle across the entire NFL. And he definitely deserves more respect as well. You take a look at what he did in 2020. I thought he was really good. And the 49ers are high on him. That's why they gave him $3.5 million. And I think they're seeing that he has a lot of upside. They also like how he's come into the facility and worked his ass off after being a 6th-round pick and community college guy. 20 tackles, 7 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, 1 pass breakup. And on the loaded 49ers defensive line, I think D.J. Jones could end up starting for this team ahead of maybe Mo Hurst, who the 49ers signed from the Las Vegas Raiders. And on this defensive line that features Nick Bosa, Javon Kinlaw, Eric Armstead, I think D.J. Jones is possibly going to be in the mix to start at defensive tackle. And if you get a guy who puts up big numbers on a $3.5 million contract, what's the theme that we're talking about on today's show? It's the 49ers being able to bring in valuable, talented guys at really affordable price tags and get excellent value for that. D.J. Jones, no doubt, one of the most underrated players on this 49ers defense. Father's Day coming up at the end of June, and we're going to help you get ahead. Why don't you do some Father's Day shopping right now and get your dad one of the best deals on the internet? How about a 49ers gift package thanks to our friends at Fanatics? Go to chatsports.com/49dad and you get 25% off on one of these 2 gift packages from our friends at Fanatics. We're talking keychains, we're talking San Francisco 49ers stickers, even a lawn flag as well, so when your pops goes out and mows the lawn, he can look at that perfectly manicured lawn with that 49ers flag waving as well and just marvel at the great work that he did, but also be proud of the fact that his son got him one of these gift boxes and he's supporting one of the best franchises across all of sports. So once again, go to chatsports.com/49dad for one of these Father's Day gift boxes. Both differences in value, but both 25% off by using that link. I'll be sure to put that in the description of this video. Let's move ahead with Dre Greenlaw, linebacker for the 49ers, who's been somewhat overshadowed by Fred Warner, a guy who's one of the best, if not the best, linebackers across the entire NFL. I think Dre Greenlaw is poised to have a breakout season in a critical year 3, and 49ers have to figure out, okay, do we want to pay this guy? And I think Dre Greenlaw feels some of that pressure, and I think he feels somewhat doubted and under-respected a little bit from people across the league. Made the Pro Football Writers of America All-Rookie team back in 2019, and when you're playing alongside an all-world talent like Fred Warner, you're just not given the respect that sometimes you are due. But right away as a rookie, he was able to step in for Robert Saleh's defense and be a part of a Super Bowl team. Like, that's crazy. Gets drafted by the Niners and already one of the biggest producers on a team that made it to the Super Bowl. That's why I think this guy has the potential to be great in 2021. I just don't think he's talked about enough, because when you look at the numbers that he's been able to put up in his first 2 years across the league, 86 tackles as a rookie, 92 tackles in his second year. In year 3 in 2021, I think he could be a triple-digit tackle guy, very active in the backfield as well. And a reason why I'm so high on this 49ers defense is because at the linebacker spot, you have Fred Warner, who's probably going to be due for around $18 million a year. And aside from him, next to him is Dre Greenlaw. This is one of the best linebacking duos across the entire NFL. A lot of the focus has been on Fred Warner, but Dre Greenlaw certainly deserves some of that respect. You could even put Azeez Al-Shaair in this category and on this show as well as one of the most underrated players on this Niners defense as well. But D'Amico Ryans at his disposal has a very talented, a very capable linebacking core that has the opportunity and the ability to really just ruin games and really confuse opposing offenses as well because of their athleticism, because of their smarts, their ability to really just move sideline to sideline and be very physical, but also defend some opposing tight ends and just be dynamic weapons in this 49ers defense. I think the 49ers defense going to be one of the top 5, top 10 defenses across the entire NFL. What do you think? The 49ers defense is top blank in the NFL. All you got to do, get into the comments, leave a number down below. You think they're top 5, you think they're top 10. Let me know how you think the 49ers defense is going to be in 2021. Really excited to talk about Jimmie Ward. Why is that? 49ers fans very familiar with him, longest tenured player on this 49ers team, not just this defense, and he's getting some praise from Pro Football Focus, ranked him as the 19th best safety across the NFL, and he did struggle early on in his career as a first-round pick, but he's really rebounded throughout his entire NFL career from that point on. It looked as though he was going to be a first-round bust, but he was a bright spot last year on this 49ers defense that saw a litany of injuries really affect that unit. He played 14 games in 2020, and I like how Jimmie Ward can both be solid in coverage but also physical in the run game as well. And he was speaking with the media yesterday and said, I want to be the leader of this defense and have that bulldog mentality so that that attitude is really contagious across this entire defense, especially the defensive backs. And this 49ers defensive backs unit, I think they're going to be a pretty solid unit in 2021 because you're looking at guys like Jason Verrett, K'Wan Williams, Jimmie Ward. You bring back Jaquiski Tartt as well. You have Emmanuel Moseley. You draft Amador Lenore. You have Ambry Thomas as well. Not only is this a unit that is very, very deep, they're very, very talented, and they're led by a guy who I think is going to be a tremendous leader this year, and a guy who, because he got off to a rocky start early on in his NFL career, hasn't been given the proper respect of being one of the most solid safeties across the entire NFL. Really, really like what Jimmie Ward has brought to the table, and I think across the league, he deserves more respect as one of the better safeties across the NFL, and I think he's due for a big season here in 2021, coming off a really solid 2020. So my 5 most underrated players on this 49ers defense: K'Wan Williams, cornerback; Jason Verrett, cornerback as well. That's going to be an unbelievable tandem, in my opinion, in 2021. D.J. Jones at defensive tackle is underrated, and I think could be poised for a breakout season. Dre Greenlaw going into year 3. He's been overshadowed by Fred Warner. I think he's underrated, though, criminally. And Jimmie Ward at safety. Those are my 5 most underrated players on this 49ers defense.